everybody. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. So I kind of wanted to catch everybody up on what happened yesterday, which I had a very profound insight into this whole theme. We're talking about trauma responses, that losing parts of ourselves. And I kind of wanted to give you an overview because it's going to affect some new things coming. But what I wanted to start with today was to say, if you watch the last, it actually was not the docuseries video, but I have another video posted in this channel for looking at how we build bridges from the future and anchoring in that information and the multidimensional self and bringing everything back into unity consciousness, bringing everything back into oneness. And so I would recommend that you watch that. It is definitely geared more towards talking out to leaders, but the part about unity consciousness, although I don't think I actually referenced it as such in the moment, is really important, and I'll probably go ahead and break that out as its own separate thing, perhaps next week. However, what I wanted to share with you on that is today is about really calling back in these parts of ourselves, something I've been working on during this whole what I'm calling my extended work break, my 3 weeks off from work, which isn't actually vacation. It's just, it's healing myself. It's working on understanding patterns and behaviors that I still had not realized were affecting me because I was in so much busyness, so much deep, just exhaustion. And that was before 2020 even rolled around and rolled up with its biblical level of chaos that it's brought. And so, you know, you guys have heard me talk about the self-abuse I'm recognizing. What I'm recognizing, my patterns are really self-abuse. They're not self-honoring. They're not self-respecting. They're not self-love. And so yesterday I had an amazing healing session and thought I was going in for like a little tune-up, you know, for the old birthday coming up. I'll just kind of get all ready to go before that rolls around in a little over a week. And wow, so much more than a tune-up happened. I didn't get a tune-up, I got a freaking upgrade by multiple levels, I think. At least that's what it feels like today. But in that session, during my coaching time and during the just kind of sitting and asking the questions and working with my guides, what I was discovering through that in the moment and now in reflection was I've definitely been bringing parts of myself back. And I think these are things that we can do, like just by, you know, the most important thing we can be doing right now is working with our shadows, understanding them, honoring the shadows, respecting the shadows, sitting with them and interviewing them. If you saw my other video, it's sitting with those emotions and asking them questions like, what are they there for? What do they need to teach you? What are they trying to tell you and show you? Interview them and start the dialogue with your shadows and figuring out if they're done and they no longer serve you, then thank them, have a gratitude ceremony with that shadow and that emotion and honor it for what it was, and then send it into the light. It's done. And how to release those things. And so I've definitely been doing a lot of that. But yesterday what happened in a couple of moments was being seen in ways that I didn't think were possible for people to see me. And I don't think it was possible for me to see myself. And these were the pieces that came back into me yesterday. It was about acknowledging the fact that the way I'm hardwired is phenomenal. And it isn't like everybody else. Because even though I'm aware of my gifts, there are times I feel so bizarrely odd with my giftings that I just don't even know where to fit. And it's hard to be seen because you can't always express the way you think or how your gifts work. And I had that moment, and that felt amazing to be seen in that moment and acknowledged and understood for that aspect. And not long after that, I had another moment which showed me how I've always been somebody who sits with the fairies and didn't realize it because I'm so cerebral and technical brained most of the time, and I forget or have forgotten this other connection I have through nature. You know, I have thousands and thousands of digital photos that are just of clouds or moss or tree bark or a rock, and I look for intricate levels of beauty down within the, all the way down to the fractals. If I could get there, I think I'd be seeing the fractals, okay? But the human eye can't see the fractals of it all, but looking for and being drawn and attracted to the composition and the beauty of nature. And as that realization was coming to me, it reminded me of how that's always been present in me, but yet I've been also told that that's just weird or odd, or you know, unless you're like a photographer or another creative type that has an eye for finding the intricacies of beauty, it's really hard to be able to understand even how that then connects to my gifts of being able to see the macro and see the micro, and how to work and build the bridges between the two, which is what all of yesterday was about. You guys will be getting a ton about talking about bridges and going from macro to micro and back up to macro, and what that all actually means. And then the third big revelation I had yesterday related to all of this is understanding in that moment how calling these parts of myself back in and working with my shadows and releasing stored trauma. Because that, you know, you guys have heard me talk about, that's the thing that I'd been working on shadows. I have emotional disconnect from the pain, and I've worked on layers of those shadows, but I still have stored trauma in my physical body, which is what I've been working on. But also, when you go to work on the stored trauma, that's where you're finding patterns that are still there. Like I had done all the emotional work, but I had left the structures, the cells of the trauma in there. And in that moment, the third big thing that I recognized yesterday was coming back to a feeling of being a child again. And guys, it's so exciting. So like if you need any other like encouragement for why working with your shadows is so important, getting to the place of feeling that childlike spirit within you again. And I had that recognition of, as these parts of me are being seen, that they're being heard, that they're being felt, that they're being honored, that they're being, you know, just blasted with divine love and energy. The more that that's happening, the more whole I'm becoming. The more whole I'm becoming, the more I'm calling back in those multitudes, the more I'm creating unity within all of my bodies. I'm going back to that childlike spirit and I'm feeling emotions and confidence that I haven't had since I was 4 or 5 years old. Before I was really infused with the indoctrination and the suppression and the gaslighting. You know, that was about the time when that starts hitting hard, when you start, you're a little older to understand, recognize, and remember, but you're also going to school at that age, and your influences are increasing because you're not just inside your family home now and community. You're you know, once you start going to school and all this other, your influences just escalate, and that indoctrination and that suppression of self and the gaslighting begins, like full-on hardcore begins. And so that's what I took away yesterday, and I'm really, really, really encouraged by it, to just go out and spend time with nature outside and just kind of discover what the blade of grass has to tell me, discover what the flowers are saying, discover you know, I love watching how trees dance and move in the wind. It's like, but what does that have to do with me, and how do I connect with that energy in a way that enlightens me and expands me and fills me with joy and with love. And so that being said, there will be a lot of changes to this channel starting on Monday. I'm really excited about it. I'm also freaking nervous because this is pushing me to be fully myself and be fully myself out there for everybody to see in ways that I have been filtering and not being able to filter anymore. Because guys, really, here's the other like reason we've got to work with our shadows now is in essence, there's this pressure of we're running out of time, that feeling, but it's because we're being pushed to this evolution point, this escalation point of things. And between now and the end of 2020, it's just going to get more and more and more and more. And if you thought 2020 up until now has been chaotic, buckle up and hold on. And it's going to become easier for you the more you begin to lean into self internally and doing the shadow work. It's going to make it a little bit more doable. But anyway, we'll address that next week at some point in a different video. But yeah, thanks for being on the journey with me and encouraging me and supporting me, for understanding and finding ways that you're connecting. So I'd love to hear your comments below if you're finding ways that you're reconnecting and calling all those parts of yourself back in and spending time with your shadows, and what that process has been like for you. So definitely would appreciate your sharing down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because I'm telling you, next week, when we are going to really start making the shift, like, not just this is a cute docuseries. There's gonna be everything from rabbit holes you can go down to just how to build bridges, the basics of making a shift. So anyways, thanks guys. I'll talk to you later.